Hello, card fighters. Team Deus here. This is Ethan, and my man behind the camera, Brandon.
What's up?
Today, I'm bringing you Gaia, the top Tachikaze deck at the moment.
For now.
So, let's get straight into the profile. For the starter, we play Baby Kamara.
Baby camera.
It is a Forerunner, as they all are, so that's not very important. Its skill is Auto, GB1, Counterblast 1. When this unit is put into the drop zone from your rearguard during your turn, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to one grade 1 card, call it to rearguard, shuffle your deck, and that unit gets 3k until the end of turn. I really like this because, granted, it is a bit slow, you can't use it until you hit G, but I really like it because once you hit G, the way this deck works, it essentially pulls a conro, except instead of going to your hand, it goes to the board. So it really helps setting up that first stride play, whether you need the resource or just
rearguards to eat,
whatever. It really helps. So, in my opinion, best starter Tachikaze has at the moment. Moving on to grade 3s, are on 4 copies of Emperor Dragon Gaia Emperor.
Such an emperor's got the word emperor twice.
So majestic, he's got Emperor twice. Yeah. He's got the Engorge ability, and his on-stride skill is Vanguard CB1. When your G unit stride during your turn, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 2 cards from your hand, call them to separate rearguard. Choose up to 2 rearguards, and they get the skill. Auto, when this unit is retired from rearguard during your turn, call them to rearguard. So you don't have to call anything from hand. You can just choose to use units on the board, but it allows you to essentially set up the units you want and make sure the units in your hand you want are on the board before you sack them off.
It's like Altman.
And they don't retain these after they get sent off. I had that question and I was like, but do they always? But no. Otherwise, this card would be so good. So
and expensive.
Extremely busted.
Yeah, just
and
infinite reviving
and not like $5. His second skill is Continuous Vanguard G2. If this unit is engorged, this unit gets 5k crit. So if you can't stride, at least you can go critical. Yeah. 4 of. And then I play as my backup grade 3, 4 copies of Gaia Desperado. Engorged skill, continuous, next skill, continuous, Vanguard Rearguard, GB2. When this unit is engorged, it gets 5k. Then, if this unit is a Vanguard, it gets a crit. So on the Vanguard, it's the same, 5k crit. As a Rearguard, it's a 16k Rearguard if you're engorged. Its on-stride skill is when your G unit stride during your turn, choose one of your Vanguards with Engorge ability, and until the end turn it gets a skill, Auto Vanguard. Counterblast 1, when this unit becomes engorged, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card. I don't like that skill. I mainly use it for the Gaia backup and the fact that it's a 16k rearguard if you really want it. So, yeah, just played at 3. On to grade 2s, are on 4 copies of Lightwave Dragon Chasmalukes. I think that's how you say it.
Just call him Luke.
Yeah, Light Dragon Luke, whatever. Your first skill is when this unit is placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, choose up to 1 card from your hand, reveal it, and if neither that card nor your Vanguard is a card with Gaia in its card name, this unit gets minus 5k. Its other skill is continuous. If you have a grade 4 Vanguard with Gaia in its card name, this unit gets 3k for each face-up card with the Engorge ability in your G zone. So, Overlord has one, except with the reveal 5k. It's a good 10k base if you have to ride it. You should almost always have Gaia in your hand, at least one of them, so you should never not have it as a 10k. And especially late game, as you second or third time you stride, this starts getting ridiculous amounts of power with the face-up Engorge units. So it's a power grade 2, and I really like it at 4 because this deck doesn't really have power rear guards. So,
and even if you miss the guy on the initial call, the next turn he'll be reset to 10k, so you're fine.
Yeah. So next I play 4 copies of Heavy Bullet Dragon Diablo Cannon. He's got the Engorge skill, and his second skill is continuous. If you have a Vanguard with Gaia in its card name, this unit gets 2k. So he's an 11k with Gaia, so we can pre-standard hit, you know, like all grade 3s, which is nice. His second skill, which I don't use often, but I have used and I find it quite useful, is Auto GB1. Choose a card from your hand and discard it. When this engorged unit is retired from rearguard for the effect or cost of your Vanguard with engorge ability, you may pay the cost. If you do, call this card to rearguard and it gets plus 5k. It's just another one of those units that can work really well with a couple of the stride units in the game. So yeah, can pull off really nice combos if you have the resources and cards in hand and whatnot. Final grade 2, which I do play 12 grade 2s, is Explosive Dragon Psychoblaze. He's Toucher Kazo Silent Tom. He's got the engorge ability as well. So his Silent Tom skill is during the battle that this unit attacked. If this unit is engorged, your opponent cannot call grade 0 cards from hand to guard circle. It doesn't give itself power, so it's not super scary, but you know, you can give it power with a couple skills and with triggers, and once you do start giving it power, it can become quite scary. So, and it's non-G restricted, so you can actually do it early when they're on like grade 1 if you really want to. So yeah, I play 4 just for that extra bit of pressure it can provide. On to grade 1s, I play 4 copies of Savage Guardians, the Unflip PG. Countercharge isn't really a thing that you can do easily or have a lot of in this deck, so I play 4 of these ones just because resources, really. You can burn through Counterblast so quickly, and you just want to max your Countercharge if you can. So 4 of. Next, 4 Prison Birds, the Stride Fodder. If you don't stride in this deck, you're in trouble. You're in a lot of trouble if you can't stride. There's not a lot you can do. So obviously you want 4 of these to max out your striding ability, and if you hit Desperado, you can correct into the right Gaia. So yeah, 4 of. Next I run 3 copies of Blackwing Dragon Raven Terror. I actually love this card now. Its first skill is Engorge, as most do. Your second skill is Auto GB1, Soul Blast 1. When this unit is retired from rearguard for the effect or cost of your Vanguard with Engorge ability, you may pay the cost. If you do, call this card to rearguard, and if the number of face-up cards in your damage zone is 1 or less, countercharge 1. So you don't often get the countercharge off, but it is there. It is a bonus if you happen to be that low on counterblast anyway. But this can only be called back if it's retired by your Vanguard, essentially. But it's really good in that you can choose 2 units with Gaia to pop off the board. You can pop this as well, call the 2 with Gaia, and then call the booster back for a Soul Blast. So it's really nice, and I wouldn't play it at any less than 3. Finally, for grade 1s, 3 copies of Cold Dragon Freezer Nix. He's your main resource unit in this deck. His skill is Auto GB1. When this unit is put into the drop zone from the rearguard during your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Gaia in its card name, countercharge 1, soul charge 1, choose up to 1 of your other units, and it gets 2k to the end of turn. This card is awesome because if you give it the Gaia skill, you can sack it twice and get the resources twice. It doesn't have to be retired by the Vanguard. It can be engorged or retired by anything and get the skill off. And if you do it twice, counter charge 2, soul charge 2, give 2 units 2k or 1 unit 4k. It's just no less than 3. May play 4 eventually, but it's just too good not to run at any less than 3. Moving on to my trigger lineup. 4 of the Tara clone. Any deck that doesn't at the moment have standard support or just can't really afford to play standard uses this because, well, it's the best heal triggers you can get, really. So everyone knows what Tara clone does. You mainly use this with counter charging. So yeah. Next I run 4 Ankylos. It's a Margul clone, and well, you don't really have a lot of drawing in this deck. So playing 4 draw triggers does make a massive difference because you can get those cards you need and just cards in hand in general. So I play 4 of them. Next I play 2 of the stand trigger. It's the recycle stand trigger. His skill is put it onto the bottom of the deck. Auto GB1 put it on the bottom of the deck, sorry. When this unit is put into the drop zone from rearguard during your turn, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card, choose one of your other units, give it 5k, and shuffle your deck. I only play this at 2, mainly because of the fact that it's a pseudo draw trigger, and you can shuffle back into the deck so you can use it later if you get it back in. And the stand can be good, but I don't really use it for the stand. I use it for the skill. The skill I really like in this deck. So I play 2 of that. And I play 2 Black Cannon Tiger. Skill is auto rearguard. When an attack hits during the battle that this unit boosted, you may soul charge 1. If you do, return this unit to your deck and shuffle your deck. So reshuffling triggers and soul charge, which you don't need as much, but it's there. So
Also, if it attacks a rearguard and hits,
hits a rearguard, it can do the same.
It can still do the skill because it's one of those old school triggers that doesn't verify that it has to hit a Vanguard. It just has to hit. So you can swing into a rearguard, and it puts the pressure on of if you let me kill this rearguard, I'm going to put my crits back in my deck and get an extra card to use for any soul blasting skills I need later. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
You can obviously play the name crit if you have the name crit or prefer the name
I don't have the name crit, so...
What's the name crit's name?
I can't remember the name crit's name.
Everyone knows what it does.
Yeah.
5k, pop it into soul,
Draw a card.
soul, draw a card, 5k to Vanguard on attack if your Vanguard is Gaia.
Yeah. Every main
stride card
got it. So. And then finally, 4 Ancient Dragon Dino Dials.
Couldn't decide between the artworks?
Yeah, I really like this one, but I like the old school one as well. So 2 of each. His skill is put into the soul. If you ever touch a Kazi Vanguard, choose up to 1 card in your damage zone and turn it face up. That's, if you use it 4 times, that's 4 counter charge, which this deck really needs.
Yeah.
And crits are good, resources are better. In my opinion, I love resources. So 4. On to the G zone. I run 4 copies of New Destruction Emperor Gaia Devastate. This card is awesome. From the artwork to the skill, it's just awesome. So, its skills are... It's got Engorge, so yeah, that's nice. Its main skill is Auto Vanguard, Counterblast 1, Persona Flip. When this unit becomes engorged, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card. Choose up to any 2 circles other than Vanguard for each face-up card in your G zone. Put all cards on those circles into the drop zone. If the number of cards put into your drop zone is 3 or more, this unit gets 10,000, crit +1, drive +1. So aside from the fact that a 36k critical with quad is scary, you can, if you have the right cards on board and you're on this guy, you can potentially sack 2 columns and call 2 columns back before the check. If you have enough face-ups, you can start popping units from your opponent's board. If you're playing against Link Joker, you can get rid of all of your locked cards. Doesn't really benefit you in attack-wise, but it does mean that your opponent doesn't really have skills for having locked cards available. So it is quite a good card, and I wouldn't play it at any less than 4, and just 4. It's so good. Next, play 2 copies of Absolute Ruler, Gluttony Dogma, the first Tachikaze Stride boss. Probably still one of the coolest, to be honest. He has the Engorge ability, and his main skill is, this is going to take a bit, Auto Vanguard GB2, Persona Flip. When this unit becomes engorged, if the number of your units retired during this turn due to the effect of this unit's engorge ability is 3 or more, you may pay the cost. If you do, this unit gets 10k. That's pretty meh. The second part is what's really good. It also gets the skill, auto Vanguard once per turn. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked, if the number of your rear guards retired during this turn, due to the incorrigibility, sorry, my tongue got really twisted, is 5 or more, this unit, and it gets drive -1. That's what makes it awesome. Because like again with Gaia Devastate, if you have the right cards, you can potentially call back 2 columns. He gets 5 checks and he's a restander at 36k. So why wouldn't you? You know, I wouldn't play it at 4 at the moment just because I don't think it takes a lot of resource to be able to get the 5 units on the board. Your hand's pretty empty, and you know, but at a 2 of, he's still threatening. You can still close games with him, and it's totally worth running at 2. You shouldn't not play this at 2 if you can, unless you can't afford him. He's still really expensive for now. Moving on to play 2 copies of Great Emperor Dragon Gaia Dynast. He's got the Engorge skill, and his second skill is Auto Vanguard GB3. When your rear guard is retired by this unit, you may counterblast 1. If you do, call that card to rear guard that unit, and this unit get 3k to the end of turn. You wouldn't really use that very often. It is a multi-attack card, so if you have the resources available and you have a full board, you can just sack everything off and call it all back and get lots of multis. Its second skill, its flip skill, which sets off the G3 really well, is Persona Flip. When this unit becomes engorged, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your rear guards, retire all rear guards in the same column as that unit, and counter charge 1. So essentially, so that sets this off. If you're G3, you can sack at least 3 units, and you can call a column back for 1 CB. Plus Gaia skill means you can call 2 columns back. It's good, but I generally don't use the G3. I mainly use it for a first turn hit G2. So then Devastate and whatnot is just that much better. Then I play 2 copies of Destruction Tyrant Grado Gigant. He's a backup first stride if I don't think Gaia Dynast is good at the time, and later in the game he's a good emergency stride. He's free resource and he's just there for an emergency because I don't play Drachma, because I don't like Drachma. Anyway, so he's got the Engorged skill, and his main skill is Auto Vanguard. When this unit becomes engorged, this unit gets 5k until the end of turn for each unit retired during this turn due to the effect of this unit's engorgeability. If the number of units retired during this turn due to the effect of this unit's engorgeability, draw a card. Is 3 or more, draw a card. So you tank 3 units, draw a card, and he gets 15k, so he's 41k. I like it. It's good first stride, and it's an emergency backup if you're really down in the dumps. So, yeah, 2 of. Next, I run 1 copy of the G8. G8's pretty good. Again, honestly, this card just says this deck is so much better. Without it, I probably wouldn't have built it if it wasn't for Gaia. His skill is he has engorgeability, as they all do. His skill is Auto Vanguard GB8. When your rear guard is retired, choose up to one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, choose one of your rear guards, and that unit and this unit get 10k to the end of turn. So, yeah. You can set up 2 columns, nuke a column, retire 2 of your opponent's units, give another column 20k, he gets 20k, and so he's good for power, popping a couple of units off your opponent's board, and just... Usually by the time you hit the G8 turn in this deck, you've probably lost or you've probably won. You don't often get to this point, but if you do, it's a nice card to have. So just a 1 of. On to G-Guards, I play 1 Barrage Giant Cannon Bullish Primer. He's the G-Flip unit. Skill, Auto GB1, flip a G-Guardian from your G-Zone. Yeah. When this unit is placed on guard circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, this unit gets 5k until the end of battle for each of your open circles. This is actually pretty good because at the end of your turn, you will often have 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 open circles, depending on what the turn was like. So you can quite easily get a very large shield with this. I only play the one because, again, games against this deck generally don't go for very long. I know it's probably a bit meh, but I may bump it up to 2, but at the moment, you know, I like having 1 at the moment, but 2 may be in the future. Next, I run 2 copies of Blockade Gengar. His skill is choose a reguard and retire it. When this unit is placed on guard circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, this unit gets 10k until the end of that battle. Choose up to one of your reguards until the end of the turn they get. When this unit is retired, return this card to your hand. So it's 25k shield for just popping one of your units. I don't use it very often. I think I may end up cutting one of those for a second one of him. But at the moment, that most decks I play against, I will get rid of a unit that won't have much use next turn and then have a 25k shield. So, yeah. The second skill doesn't happen very often because you don't often retire units on your own turn, but it does mean if your opponent does it, you get it. So, yeah. Just 2.
Kagura.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me cards, Denial. And stuff. And then finally, I run 2 Iron Armored Chancellor Dimorph Phalanx. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. It's just a 20k shield. Skill is if the number of your reguards is less than or equal to your number of your opponent's reguards, this unit gets 5k. Again, in this deck, that's almost always going to go off because you're sacking off your own units anyway. So it's just an easy 20k to get, and generally you'll flip 1 for the flip guy. So yeah, just 2. Anyways, that's it for this deck profile. Thank you very much for watching. I hope we got some Tachikaze fans that enjoy this deck profile. Otherwise, I just hope you enjoyed it in general. And we will see you next time. Cheers.